I know this is about 2012, but let me go forward a couple of years. 2015, which area of Amazon is going to make more money? E-commerce, Kindle plus content, or Amazon Web Services?
Imitation Jeff Bezos robots, actually, that will roam the earth.
I think it's the cloud piece.
I think the cloud piece is interesting when you look at the quarterly reports from Amazon. They're still not that's not being pulled out as a line item yet, and it's sort of like this miscellaneous, massive dollar figure.
They don't pull anything out. They don't.
Well, that's true. We sold a lot of Kindles.
We sold a lot, four times as many as last year.
More than you would, yeah.
But I do think we won't tell you how many.
I do think that's sort of Amazon's future is definitely in the cloud service.
Yeah, I mean, when you think about the companies that are building their cloud services on that cloud service, so they become sort of the platform for the platform guys. If you look at like a Heroku, a Force.com, the partner to Force.com in Salesforce, that platform as a service is all run on Amazon. And there's a lot of people who are building their platforms on that. So I think that part's going to be huge.
What about Amazon Prime? Amazon Prime, I mean, I have Amazon Prime, and over the weekend I was doing holiday shopping. I kept forgetting things. I just kept doing new orders, and it was awesome. I didn't have to pay anything extra.
I think it's groceries in 2015.
You think what?
It's groceries. For Amazon, their biggest revenue generator is going to be consumer packaged goods, groceries.
Then they are the Walmart.
Yep, that's fine. But I said that we'd get back to a YouTube comment.
Right, there was the YouTube question. I've kind of forgotten what my thought was now. But I think that analytics is going to help YouTube mature a little bit in their audience, because right now, when you're making content for YouTube, it's really hard to tell who your audience is beyond just looking at the comments. And if you look at the comments, the only thing you know about your audience is that they're probably 13 to 14 years old, racist, and homophobic. So with the analytics tool, content creators are going to be able to tell who they're making content for, and that's going to be pretty huge for YouTube.
Interesting.
It's true.
Question over here.
Hi, my name is Lish Nieva-Woodgate, and I'm with A&W Networks. I kind of have a question about your world. 2 years ago, the media was dying, it was dead, it was never going to survive. New York Times paywall seems to be doing relatively well, but publications are still closing. What's your prediction? Does it all go online? Does print survive? Where do you see it?
Well, since you asked.
You didn't want to talk about it, John.
I know, but she asked.
Why don't you want to talk about it, John?
So we're allowed.
Talking about media.
You don't want to talk about it? It's like a rash that you don't want to talk about. It's there, but it's like, don't look at it.
It is. I have a media-shaped rash, actually. That's why I don't want to.
I think it's, there was the problem with the media is that the media loves to write about the media, right? If the Twinkie industry was going through the same problem as the media, there would have been like 2 articles about it, right? But we're just we have to look at ourselves and be like, what's the problem here? And I think there was a tremendous amount of hype. The reality is that newspapers and things and TV and all these things are not going to go away in a year or 5 years or 10 years. It's going to take a long, long time for that transition to take place. And we're seeing it happen. And sure, there have been some news outlets that have gone specifically online, but they seem to be doing okay. And you see a lot of startups that are coming about that are just starting online, and they seem to be doing okay. And so I think there was sure, the industry is going through trouble and it's going through a transition, but it's not the hype that we heard about a year or 2 ago.
Agreed.
When are they going to stop printing the New York Times? I'm not. No, Arthur Sulzberger said it. It's not me.
My mic stopped working. It's going to be a long time. Look. I mean, paper is a. Look at this. It's an amazing technology. I'm not. A million people still buy this thing every single day, and that's one newspaper.
You would say
right?
that.
No, I don't buy it. And I've written that in my book and everything. I do not, I prefer a digital experience of the New York Times. However, 1 million people during the day buy it, 1.5 million on weekends. It's not going away. I thought it was sooner than it is. I was wrong.
Aren't you also seeing some of the weekend edition sales going up?
Weekend sales are going up. Online subscriptions. It's what 350,000 have subscribed just online alone. It's 1 million when you take in all the different iterations that are going on. I think that it's kind of a little bit jumping the gun to say these things are.
But I love how we're not defensive about it at all. It's like it doesn't.
No, I'm not. No,
I'm just kidding.
We're having
When are they
a great
going to stop
year.
making Bloomberg terminals, huh?
Yeah.
When is that going to happen?
Never.
For me, this kind of ties in with the last question. I think there's groundwork being, with the newspapers actually. I think there's a groundwork being laid for an installed base of smart devices in people's hands, smartphones and tablets. And there's a certain point at which there are enough of those devices in people's hands that content can be delivered to them profitably. And we're still 2 to 3 years away from that. In the meantime, though, I think there are certain predictable things that people want to do with these new platforms when they get them. Communicate is one of them. I don't know, people aren't good at planning in general, or at least I'm not.
I'm actually curious what you think that the future mobile social apps.
She thinks they're going to win. What do you mean?
And what you define them as?
You know, the ability to pull from all of your various lists, whether it's Facebook or your Google, address book, very easily, and pull those people in for whom you may not have email addresses, for whom you may not have their cell phone numbers, and be able to send them a text message or some kind of email very quickly to get people together in real life rather than just constantly talking about checking in on Facebook or checking in on Foursquare.
I think that's something that services like TaskRabbit and things like that, I think the next iteration of what they'll do is be able to help you, say, rather than you hire someone that you don't know to help you paint your apartment, that you can also be able to hire your friends and things like that. And I think that kind of will bring in that. No, it's change your time as a currency.
I signed up for TripIt, which is a social travel planning service, like 2 years ago when it launched. I basically never used it because even though it was easier than anything else, it was still too hard. But just today, I discovered that TripIt has a new feature where you can give it access to your email, and you don't have to do anything now. It goes into my email. If it sees something from Virgin America or Sheridan, it pulls that in automatically. And so I'm getting social planning with zero work on my part, which is way more exciting than anything that involves any labor whatsoever.
Nice. Well, thank you to the panelists. Thank you to the questioners. We've come to the end of this session.
Thank you, John.